This is easily the #1 question that slides into my DMs more than anything else I get asked about my trucks. And I never get the opportunity to give people the real answer because the real answer takes more explaining than I can in a text message. Bronco Raptor versus F-150 Raptor. I've owned both. I've also off-roaded both. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly which one I think is better. What's going on, guys? Matt McAdam here, your host of Chasing Dust, only on Driving Line. Now, normally this is where I tell you to take my opinion seriously because I've actually lived with these trucks, not just borrowed them for a weekend press loop like everybody else out there. And this time, that actually matters more than ever. From 2022 to 2025, I owned a Bronco Raptor. 3 years, 48,000 miles, Baja, the Mojave Road, Moab, every kind of terrain and weather that the Southwest has to offer. I seriously mean it when I say it. Out of all the fully built, caged, long travel trucks I've owned over the years, the Bronco Raptor in mostly stock form is my absolute favorite vehicle. But then last year, my wife and I found out that we were having our first baby. So I got to thinking ahead, and I tried to envision driving a little one around town in my Bronco. The idea of fitting car seats and strollers in the Bronco just didn't sound like a good fit anymore, and sadly, I had to sell it in September of 2025. But when it came time to replacing this iconic 4x4, the only vehicle that I could even hope to fulfill my needs and my wants in an off-road truck was naturally the F-150 Raptor. So I drove down to my local dealer, I placed a special order, and I patiently waited for it to arrive a few months later. Now, I wanted a shelter green truck with no sunroof, and I specifically wanted the 801A truck on 35s because I knew the first thing that I would do is level it out on 37-inch Nittos and KMCs, just like my Bronco, and there was no point in paying the additional $13,000 in parts that I was going to take off anyway. And I've been driving it ever since. So I'm making this video today for anybody who's considering making the jump from one to the other or buying one or the other, so let's get into which one wins and for who. Now, to set this up for the purposes of this video, I'll be comparing the Bronco Raptor against an F-150 Raptor with the 802A package, which comes with 37-inch tires. That's the most analogous trim of this truck to the Bronco Raptor, so we got to make it fair. So here's the thing that everybody seems to get wrong about this comparison. People want me to tell them which truck is better. I get asked all the time from people who are looking at both. Most of them either ask how I like the Bronco Raptor or wanted to confirm that the F-150 Raptor was a better choice since I gave up the Bronco Raptor for it. And I get it, trust me. That's the YouTube comparison format that we're all used to, and frankly, it would make sense given my own purchase, but that's not what this video is going to be. See, these two trucks are not built for the same driver, in my opinion. They're not even built for the same purpose. In fact, it's hard to even make this a comparison video because it's more of a contrast video. One is a purpose-built off-road machine that happens to be sold as an SUV. The other is a pickup truck platform that got the full off-road treatment bolted onto it. Both approaches are excellent, they just solve different problems. So instead of picking a winner, I'm gonna walk you through what each one actually does better, and then I'm gonna tell you why I made the switch anyway. Before I get into what makes these two vehicles different, we need to start with what they have in common. Both of these trucks come out of the same Ford performance playbook, the one built on decades of factory-backed desert racing, not just boardroom marketing. Both are four-wheel drive, both are body on frame, V6 twin turbo power, 10-speed transmission, they both have room for 5 people, and they both come with available 37-inch tires from the factory. They both lean on Fox Racing's live valve internal bypass shocks, the same core suspension technology tuned to soak up whoops and washboard at speed instead of just crawling rocks. They both have front and rear locking differentials. Both trucks give you a dedicated Baja mode specifically built for high-speed desert running, not just a generic off-road setting. Now, visually, you can spot the family resemblance immediately with blacked-out Raptor badging, flared fenders, the aggressive grille treatment, contrasting graphic packages. This is all Ford just telling you both of these are the flagship off-road trim in their lineup, and they're priced like it is too. So let's start with the Bronco Raptor, because this is still to this day the best off-road vehicle I have ever owned, and here's why. When it comes to the Bronco Raptor, Ford didn't just take a regular Bronco and bolt Raptor parts onto it. They took the most off-road capable parts of the Raptor program, and then they adapted them onto a platform that was already engineered for the trail from day one. That's a completely different starting point, and you can actually feel it when driving the car. For starters, one of the things I immediately noticed on the trail was that you can lock the rear diff in two-wheel drive. This is especially useful for doing donuts or more spirited driving while taking turns. Also, the narrow body on a wider track width is, in my opinion, the perfect geometry for tight technical trails, and yeah, you give up some interior room awesome to get it, but on the trail, that trade-off pays for itself every single time. The approach angles, departure angles, breakover angles are all better across the board. I ran 37-inch Nitto Trail Grapplers on KMC forged wheels on mine, and those tight rocky sections, that narrow body with the wider stance let me thread lines a wider body truck simply can't. Another thing to note is that the exhaust actually runs under the cab and it sounds noticeably more aggressive than the F-150. Now onto the interior, it has real off-road thinking built into it. You have mounting surfaces for accessories, the layout choices assume that you're actually going to use it on the trail, and you can hose out the entire truck because there's no carpet and they put drain holes in the floorboards. And look, I know it sounds small, but being able to pull the roof off of this thing is just cooler than a sunroof in my opinion. Now on power, honestly, I never really noticed the difference between the two trucks out on the dirt. Even though the Bronco's 3-liter EcoBoost is a bit underpowered compared to the F-150's 3.5-liter, they're pretty indistinguishable there. Both have more power than the suspension can handle, so you can still get yourself into trouble very easily in faster sections of dirt. Where the Bronco Raptor does show its one real weakness is if you've got a lot of gear or you're bringing more than one passenger. The rear seat is pretty crammed for an adult, especially on the trail, and even though I had a full tool drawer full of all my stuff and a fridge, the cargo area just makes it difficult to pack for more than an overnight trip. It's more susceptible to weight-related suspension issues than the F-150 is as well, and that's worth knowing if you're planning on bringing more stuff with you. For my week-long adventures in Baja, the rear sag and faster shock fading was very noticeable. We were basically on the bump stops constantly during those trips. The Bronco Raptor also comes in at a base price of $79,995, making it noticeably more affordable than the F-150 Raptor 802A. All right, now for the F-150 Raptor. I bought this truck last year. I've taken it on the Mojave Road, which is over 140 miles of wide open desert, along with a few other local trails, but give me a break, I just had a baby. My immediate impression, and I mean on the first drive out of the dealership, was, oh, this kind of feels like a work truck with the maximum amount of bells and whistles on it with a wider body and better suspension. Which, by the way, is not a knock on Ford at all, because that's literally how the F-150 Raptor came about back in the day. They took the top of the line F-150 truck and sort of just beefed it up with a wider stance, a bigger engine, better suspension, and better drivetrain. But it does not feel like a ground up off-road vehicle the way the Bronco Raptor does. The Bronco just felt like it was more of a specialized off-road weapon. And the F-150 Raptor feels like a really good pickup truck that also happens to shred trails better than anything else on the market. There's no sway bar disconnect. There's no trail turn assist. You can't engage the locker in two-wheel drive for some reason. Trust me, I've tried. I've also never been able to explain this properly, but my apologies if it doesn't make any sense. I come from the compact and mid-sized truck world, building pre-runners out of Toyota pickups and Ford Rangers. The full-size F-150 just feels less connected to what's happening underneath you on the terrain. I don't really have a better way of saying it, but it just feels like you can't quite drive with your ass as well as you can in a smaller vehicle that has a little bit more feedback coming through the chassis. And if you're actually considering buying one, it's also important to know this one real downside. Anyone who's tried to park one of these things in a normal parking spot or a parking lot knows exactly what I'm talking about. It can be hard. It's long, it's wide, it doesn't turn very quickly, and 90% of the time I'm reversing into a parking space because it's basically impossible to get in nose first. So if you live in the city or even the suburbs like me, navigating a tight parking lot or a normal parking space is genuinely not easy in this truck. But honestly, that's really where the trade-offs end. On the flip side, it's noticeably faster on the street. I just did a Goose Tune 91 octane tune on it so I can compare it to the Whipple 91 octane tune on my Bronco, and the F-150 still beats it. I can actually spin tires through second gear on the 37s with no problem on dry pavement. On the inside, however, the F-150 is much quieter and roomier. Road trips are a completely different experience, and people who call me can actually hear me through my infotainment system, unlike the Bronco Raptor, which has a much flatter windshield and a fiberglass top. It's also more stable at high speeds thanks to its longer wheelbase, and it feels more forgiving out in the open desert. The Bronco Raptor will buck like crazy in the rear, and it feels like it wants to swap ends, but the F-150 actually stays true, and even if the rear does come off the ground, it'll still stay in line. Now, aftermarket support is also a little more built out for the F-150, so it matters if you're planning on modifying your truck the way that I do. There's just more companies making parts for the Gen 3 F-150 Raptor than the Bronco Raptor. Speaking of mods, I already have a set of SDI top hats just to level out the front of the truck, and a new set of all-new 37-inch Nitto Terra Grappler G3s on mine wrapped around a set of KMC forged wheels. That tire was the right call for a truck that splits its time between highway and open trail instead of just tight technical rock trails. They stay quiet and tame on the highway, but they still provide better traction and much stronger construction than the stock all-terrains it came with. Now, I know what some of you guys are thinking right now. Matt, you just spent 5 minutes telling us the Bronco Raptor does almost everything better off-road: rear locker, approach angles, sound, feel, interior utility. So why wouldn't I just say that the Bronco Raptor wins this comparison? Well, because what's better for me isn't necessarily better for you. That's the whole point of this video. Given its popularity and the specs on the brochure, the F-150 Raptor should be the king of the Raptor lineup, but I just didn't see it that way. I don't tow anything, I don't haul anything, I like my variety in my trail selection. I like driving what feels like a specialized 4x4 that's closer to an SUV than a pickup truck, and the Bronco Raptor is without question the most capable all-around off-road vehicle ever produced, in my opinion. So if your only priority is trail performance across the widest range of terrain like sand, rocks, desert, tight single track, the Bronco Raptor is the answer, full stop. But capability and fit are two different conversations, and conflating them is exactly how people end up with the wrong truck for their life. So here's my actual answer. The real reason that I moved from one to the other, it was not a spec sheet. It was my new life as a dad. Backseat room and cargo space became the priority the second I had a baby seat to install and a family to haul around, and the Bronco Raptor, as much as I love that truck, just isn't built for that. And the F-150 Raptor was just the logical pivot, not because it's a better vehicle, but because it's the closest thing to what I already loved, and it also gave me the interior and bed space that my family actually needed. It is still an unmatched off-road performer in its class. It still gets used hard, and I'll probably enjoy my desert trips more in this thing versus the Bronco, but it's civil enough to drive to the office, capable enough to do yard work with, and it's roomy enough to take the family camping without anybody complaining. Bronco Raptor remains my favorite off-road vehicle of all time, and unless the next generation is somehow better, I don't think that will change. But favorite and functional aren't always the same truck, and figuring out which one you actually need is more important than figuring out which one has a better spec sheet. So if you're cross-shopping these two, ask yourself what you're actually optimizing for. Is it capability or livability? Because you can get a version of both, but you can't always get all of it, not in one truck. In the end, it needs to be said that Ford is absolutely dominating this space with no plans on letting off the gas, because there's no way that I was going back to a Toyota or some other brand after driving a Raptor for a few years. But I am curious what you guys think about these two rigs. So let me know down in the comments below which one you'd pick and why. Or if you did choose one over the other, what was the decision point for doing so? And before you go, be sure to subscribe to Driving Lines so you don't miss a single episode of Chasing Dust, or frankly any of the other awesome series that we have hosted on this channel. But that's going to do it for us today, guys. Thanks again for following along one last time. I'm your host, Matt McAdam. You're watching Chasing Dust on Driving Line, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hey guys, thanks for watching. This is Matt from Chasing Dust. Be sure to hit that subscribe button because Driving Line's creating all kinds of awesome content for gearheads just like you. I'll see you guys out there.